Carolyn. All right, today we're going to talk about lesson 18. I can compare using more than and the same as. More than and the same as. We've talked about these words before. More than means more. So if I only have 3 carrots, what is more than 3? Anything over 3. 4, 5, 6. Less than 3 would be the other way. Anything less than 3, 2 or 1. And then the same as, another word we use for that is equal. Equal means the same as. They're both the same. Okay, let's go to our warm-up. We're going to do finger number pairs. You've gotten really good at showing your fingers the math way. I want to challenge you to think of other ways to show numbers on your finger. Here's a hint. You can use 2 hands. First, I'll ask you to show me the math way. Then I'll ask you to show me the number another way. Ready? 2. Show me 2 the math way. Now show me 2 another way. It might be 1 and 1. Okay, let's try this one. Show me 5 the math way. Now show me 5 a different way using 2 hands. 3 and 2 or 4 and 1. Okay. Oops. Show me 3 the math way. 3. Show me 3 a different way. All right. Show me 8 the math way. Show me 8 a different way. Maybe 4 and 4, or 5 and 3, or whichever way. Show me 6 the math way. 6. Show me 6 a different way. That's one way to show it. Show me 4 the math way. 4. Show me 4 a different way. Show me 7 the math way. Show me 7 a different way. There's one way. All right, let's get out our math book, and we're going, I'll tell you the page number, we are going to turn to page 83. That's an 8 and a 3. Go ahead and get your math book out and turn to page 83. Yours is not going to have the mouse on it. All right. The directions tell me draw 4 little mice. Draw some pieces of cheese that each mouse can have. Let's look at that word each. Who can tell me, what does each mean? I'm looking for a piece of cheese that each mouse can have. Who can raise their hand and tell me, what does each mean? Ryan, what does each mean?
Miss Kate, what page is it?
83.
Everyone.
83. Yeah. Everyone. Each person. There's enough for everyone. Great job, Ryan. Use a ruler, you don't have to do this, and draw a line between each mouse and its cheese. So you don't have to use a ruler, you can just draw a line. Are there just enough pieces of cheese? We'll talk about it. So let me take this one sentence at a time. One sentence at a time. Bless you. Draw 4 little mice. Draw 4 little mice. Okay, I'm gonna try it. Do it with me. I'm gonna draw a mouse. I'm just gonna draw like their face. This is how I draw mice. Okay? And I'm gonna draw 4 of those. You do it too. Okay, let me make sure I have 4. I need to go back and count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I have 4? Looks like I do. Now, my next sentence says, draw some pieces of cheese so that each, we talked about each, mouse can have 1. Well, I'm just going to draw a square piece of cheese. So I need to draw some pieces of cheese. I'm going to draw it down here so that each mouse has 1. Some cheeses have holes in them, so maybe I'll put some holes. Draw a line between each mouse and their cheese. So, you know what I think I should have done first? Instead of drawing all the pieces of cheese, what if I did this? I drew a line from each mouse, and at the bottom of that line, I draw my cheese. That way, I make sure that each mouse has a piece of cheese. Because if each mouse needs a piece of cheese, I can go ahead and draw my lines and then put cheese at the end of each line. Thumbs up once you've got that completed. Few people still working. So the key word in this story problem is each. That means every mouse, each mouse gets a piece of cheese. All right, I'm going to erase here, and we're gonna pull up our lesson for today. Let me pull that up.
Hello, mathematicians. My name is Mrs. Chandrasekhar. Today we will be comparing using more than and the same as. Let's get started. For this lesson, you will need 1 sheet of paper, 5 linking cubes of one color, and 10 linking cubes of a different color. I'll be using blue and red, but you can use whatever 2 colors you have. Pause the video to find your materials and press play once you found them.
Okay, so you do not have to have exactly what she has. If you have 10 Legos that you can stack, anything you can stack, but you're gonna need 10 of one and 5 of another. If you don't quite have that many, that's okay, and a blank sheet of paper or a whiteboard. I'll give us just a minute to gather those materials. All right, go ahead and get started.
Friends, this weekend I saw some of my old students outside in the park. We had such a good time playing with blocks. Were there enough blocks for each of my students? Whisper what you think to the computer.
Okay, so raise your hand. Were there enough blocks for all of the students? Were there enough? Landon, were there enough blocks for all the students?
No.
No, there's not. Look, if I were to draw a line, look, there's one person, he doesn't have one. So there are not enough. Very good.
I heard you whispering that no, there are not enough. There were more students than blocks. Here is another block. Now we have the same number of blocks as students. Before, I had more students than blocks. I had to find another block to make them the same number. Then, guess what? When I was walking home, I bumped into some more students. And of course, I had to share some of my blocks. Oh no, what happened this time? There were more blocks than students. It's okay, we found another student to give the block to. Now we have the same number of blocks as students. Now friends, let's talk about the same and more with our linking cubes. Pause the video to find 2 sets of linking cubes. 5 cubes of one color and 10 cubes of another. Press play once you found them.
So they can be the same color. They don't have to be the different color.
Look at your cubes. What do you notice? Are the 2 sets of cubes the same? Think. Say it.
Okay. Smriti, are these 2 sets of cubes the same?
No. One is black and the other is red, and the black one is longer.
Right. There are more black cubes or blue, I think it's navy blue, than red. There are more blue cubes than red cubes. Let's see if we're right.
I heard many of you say that the two sets of cubes are not the same. Think, think, think. How do we know that they're not the same? Let's look at my cubes, my blue and my red cubes. We can tell that they're not the same just by looking at them. We can see that the blue set of cubes is taller than the red set of cubes, and the red set of cubes is shorter than the blue set of cubes. We could also draw lines from one cube to another to see if they are the same. Watch as I do that. I notice that we can't keep drawing lines because there's no more red cubes. That's another way that we can tell that those cubes are not the same. We could also count each set of cubes. Let's count my cubes on the screen all together. Start with the red cubes. Ready? Go.
1,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 red cubes. Now, let's look at the blue cubes. Let's count them all together. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 blue cubes. So because the numbers are not the same, we know the cubes are not the same. Now, I want you to use one of these strategies to find out which set of cubes is more. Pause the video to do this.
yes.
Did we try anything yet?
No, honey, just watch along with the video. So if you want to build this with your cubes, go ahead and stack 10 tall and 5.
I can't do like that because I only have 7 cubes.
Okay,
now.
honey, then all you have to do is watch.
Great job. So, which set of cubes of yours was more? How did you know? Tell someone in the room how you knew.
Okay, so how do we know which set of cubes has more? How do we know that? Who can tell that to me? Raise your hand. How do we know which set of cubes has more? Estelle, how do I know which set of cubes has more?
Because the black one is longer than the red one.
So you can tell by length. What's another way we can tell? Great job, Estelle. What's another way we can tell that these have more? That the blue has more? Carolyn?
I don't know.
You're not
because
We can call on a friend to help you.
because 10 is more than 5.
We could count them and we could see that 10 is a bigger number than 5. Very good. And what's the last way we could tell? DJ, I saw your hand up earlier. DJ, what did she do here to make sure she knew that there weren't enough, that they weren't the same? DJ?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, let's call in a friend. Arwie, what did she do here to let us know that they're not the same amount? One has more.
It's because the one that is under 10 is longer.
We talked about length, but there's something that she did with these lines. Look, she drew a line to each cube to try to match them up. If you run out of cubes to draw lines to, then you will not have enough. Great job.
It looks
You can go ahead and mute your mic. Thank you, sweet girl.
Great strategies. I heard some of you say that you counted your cubes, so you knew which set of cubes was more. I heard some of you say that you could just tell which set of cubes was more by looking. For my set of cubes, I could tell that the blue set was more than the red set because it was taller. Great job. Let's look back at my students and I. After my students played with the blocks, they decided they wanted some ice cream. Let's draw the ice cream cones that they had. Pause the video to find your piece of paper and press play once you found it.
We've got our
First,
materials. We're good.
Let's draw the students. We can draw smiley faces for students. Draw with me. Ready? One student. Two students. Three students. We drew our students in a line. Now let's draw the ice cream cones. Underneath the first student, let's draw our first ice cream cone. Let's draw another one. Another cone. Another cone. And our last cone. Great job. Now let's look at the drawing. Is there more ice cream than students? Or the same amount of ice cream as students? Let's find out by drawing a line from each ice cream cone to each student. Pause the video to draw the lines.
Okay, so just like what she did here, you're gonna draw a line from your ice cream cone to your smiley face, to your student. Then I want you to raise your hand and tell me, are there enough ice cream cones? Or are there more or too many?
Miss Kate.
Yes.
Should we draw free smiley?
Yes, you do
Or
exactly.
not people?
You do exactly what she did. Okay, let's mute our microphone. Remember, raise your yellow hand if you want me to call on you. Ryan, are there enough ice cream cones? Are there the same number of ice cream cones as students?
The ice cream cones are more than the students.
Yeah, they are not the same. If I draw a line from each person to the ice cream cones, I can see that there are more ice cream cones than students. Let's see if we're right.
What did you find? Is there more ice cream than students or the same amount? Tell someone in the room or tell me. Yes, there is more ice cream than students. Let's cross off by putting an X on the 2 extra ice cream cones. Ready? One X. 2 X's. What do you notice? That's right, now it's the same. Great job, my friends. Now it's time to show what you've learned.
Okay, so let's get out our math book again and open it. Just turn one page to page 85. And you'll see some hats and scarves and some ants down here at the bottom. We're gonna work on these together. Let's take a look up here. My directions are here next to the first star. Draw straight lines with your ruler. You do not have to use a ruler to see if there are enough hats. Enough means one for everyone. If there are enough hats for the scarves. So every hat has to have a scarf. I'm going to give you a minute to do that now. Draw a line from a scarf to a hat. A scarf to a hat. Go ahead and do that now on your paper, and then we'll talk about it. All right, friends, raise your hand and tell me, are there enough hats for every hat to have a scarf? Jonyan, are there enough?
No.
No, there's not. Look, if I finish matching up my scarves, this scarf doesn't have a match, and this scarf doesn't have a match. There are not enough hats for scarves. So, which one has more? The hat or the scarf? Raise your hand. Which one has more? Russell, which one has more?
The scarf.
The scarf.
Because the scarf is more than the hat. Is a sentence there are not enough hats for the scarf.
Very good. I love how you put that in a sentence. There are not enough hats for the scarves. There are more scarves than hats. We can tell that because the scarves, there's 2 that do not have a partner. We have 2 extra. So I know that the scarf, there are more scarves. Okay, cross off by putting an X on the scarf. Because we noticed that there are 2 extra. We've already kind of talked about that, but that's okay. We can put an X on it to show the 2 extra that don't have a match. Now, look down here at the bottom. It says draw more leaves than ants. What's a strategy I can use to draw more leaves than ants? Who could tell me, maybe, a strategy I could use? What's a strategy I could use to draw more leaves than plants? Anya?
You could count how many ants there are.
That's true. I could count how many ants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I need to make sure I draw more than 6 leaves. That's great. That is one strategy you can use. What's another strategy we can use that we learned today? Or that we talked about? Estelle?
Strategy for what?
For figuring out that there are more leaves than ants. What's something else I could do other than counting the ants?
You could just, you could make, you could say, you could do the, ants and, like, count the leaves instead of the ants.
Well, what if we did a line like this? And at the end of each line, we draw a leaf. And I know that I need to have 1 or 2 leaves extra that don't match with an ant to have more. Those are the 2 strategies you could use to solve the problem. You could count the ants. We said there were 6 ants. So we know we need to draw more than 6 leaves. Or you can draw a leaf under each ant and then draw more leaves that do not have a partner with an ant. Great job, friends. Don't forget to take a picture and submit your work. I am going to link that quiz right now so you can get started on it if you want. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
For some reason, I couldn't see you on it. You said you were in the chat, but you didn't know. I don't know what happened.
I think it was a Teams issue.